I think we talk a lot more about single people who are bitter giving their friends advice and wanting to keep their friends single because they're bitter and heartbroken. It goes both ways, which is why we can't ask for advice based on relationship status. There are bitter people in both arenas, okay? Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Whine About It. This is a girl chat, and we are talking about should you take relationship advice from someone who is single? Definitely wine sipping worthy. As someone who is a serial monogamous who is currently in her longest stint of singledom, I really found this topic interesting and thought, let's talk about it. Of course, we can't start any topic without our wine. Wine pairs with more than just food. It also pairs with what vibe you're having, what mood you're in. I am sipping on La Crema Pinot Noir, the Monterey Pinot Noir. This is 2021. Everybody knows the Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir. It's very popular. It's creme de la creme of Pinot. But today I decided to check out the Monterey, and I think it's perfect for the topic because just like my opinion, it may not be the popular opinion. If you don't have your drink with you already, go ahead, hit pause, and come right back. I'm going to start off just by saying I absolutely believe you can get sound advice, sound relationship advice from someone who is single. Before I really get deep into it, I want to first acknowledge something that I think the most of us understand is that at some point in time, everyone who is in a relationship has been single, and 9 times out of 10, everyone who is single has been in a relationship. It is incredibly easy to get into a relationship. It's not hard for people to find themselves in a relationship. What is hard is finding yourself in a long-term, sustainable, healthy relationship, and or to remove yourself from a long-term relationship that you find is not healthy or is not sustainable. So that in itself, to me, is evidence that your relationship status should not determine your ability to give relationship advice. You really have to consider way more than someone's relationship status when you're asking them for advice. So the number one thing that I think you should consider is not only like their history in their own relationships, but their character and their decision making. Prime example, you can have a friend who has been in a long-term relationship that we would never ever be in. Toxic, unstable, or just not ideal for the type of relationship that we ourselves want to have. That alone lets you know that just the mere fact that someone is in a relationship doesn't necessarily speak to their ability to advise you on how to make decisions and maneuver in your relationship. Number 2, there are plenty of single people who are single because they have actively made the choice to not be in a toxic relationship, which I would argue is even more profound.
Woman, Ma, you should be proud. I'd rather live alone than crawl up behind some two-timing loser like Kenneth. He's a good man, Savannah. A good man.
The other thing that you want to consider, because we are all different, right? Just like I said in my previous example of someone who's in a relationship that is nothing like a relationship that you yourself would want to be in. What you want to consider is who knows you and who knows the type of relationship that you want to be in. The advice needs to be coming from someone, again, one who has a track record of making good relationship decisions, and or 2, someone who knows you and who knows what's important to you and the type of relationship you desire to have. When we get into relationships, sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, and it's good to have someone in your corner who can say, Elise is kind of compromising here. This is something she's always been really big on. Or someone who may understand our communication styles better and how to respond and navigate difficult conversations with our partner. These are the things that we want to consider when getting advice. The third thing that I think is way more important to consider when getting advice is their ability to be objective. A lot of times people who are in relationships tend to give advice from the perspective of the relationship that they are currently in. If they are unhappy in their own relationship, it's usually a little bit more pessimistic. Girl, don't do it. Oh, my husband used to do, I wouldn't recommend it. Walk away.
1 out of 10 do not recommend. It's ghetto. Don't do it.
I think we talk a lot more about single people who are bitter giving their friends advice and wanting to keep their friends single because they're bitter and heartbroken. It goes both ways, which is why we can't ask for advice based on relationship status. There are bitter people in both arenas, okay? So you have to look at the perspective and the objectivity from the person you're getting that advice from. Are they going to come from a place of, desiring to want you to be happy, regardless of where they are? Encouragement. Do you find that they are always discouraging when they're talking about relationships in general, whether they're in a relationship or not? Those are the things that you want to think about when you're getting advice from somebody. Are they going to be a true, objective, and caring advisor? And I'll tell you that some of the best relationship advice that I have gotten has been from people while they were single. They're in relationships now, but for a long, long time, they were single. And I've gotten some really great relationship advice from them. And now these people are in really great, healthy relationships because they made good decisions during their singledom that allowed them to navigate into long-lasting, healthy relationships now. You don't have to play football to be a coach, and to be an excellent coach. Only 8 out of the 32 current NFL coaches have actually played in the NFL. You do not have to be in a relationship to be able to advise and be an outstanding relationship advice giver. Now, I will say, I 100% understand the importance of having a circle of people who understand the unique experience you're going through as a married couple, right? There's something about having someone that can relate to, because once you get married, it does change the dynamic of your relationship greatly. And so it is beneficial to have someone that understands the process that you just went through or the process that you're going through. Absolutely. And when I say advice, I'm talking about general problem solving advice. How should I approach this with my partner? If you're down to whether or not I should stay in this relationship or not, number one, I feel like nobody should be advising you unless you are in danger. If you are in a physically dangerous relationship or abusive relationship, I will never give somebody an advice to leave their partner unless I feel like they are unsafe. But if you are down to that decision for yourself, I absolutely understand wanting to talk to someone who is currently in a marriage. The stakes are higher in marriage, and so I do understand wanting to get the perspective of someone who understands the stakes involved. If you're married, you should have some friends who are married that you can rely on, that you can talk to. But I also think you would be doing yourself a disservice if you exclude other friendships and other people who could offer you caring and supportive and objective advice based on their relationship with you just because of their current relationship status. I also feel the same way about single people. As a single person, it can be really, really hard to get advice from your married friends, especially married friends who've been out of the game for a while now. It's a totally different experience. It's not only just because of the day and age that we're living in, but also as you yourself get older, the dating scene starts to change more from you. Like the dating in your 20s versus dating in your 30s versus dating in your 40s all look a little different. So a married person who was single in their 20s trying to give someone who's single in their 30s their advice may not resonate. It may not be applicable.
How is dating in your 30s versus your 20s? And like, what did you learn in your 20s that you like apply to dating now in your 30s? And I really had to like think about it. I was like, that's a good question. And it occurred to me that I don't remember dating in my 20s because I was drunk my entire 20s.
I think there are certain things that are very nuanced to being married that you need to rely on your married friends for. And then there are certain things that are very nuanced for people who are single currently that you need to rely on your single friends for. But overall, when you're wanting to get general relationship advice, it really shouldn't have anything to do with their relationship status. That is that on that. If you disagree, let me know. I want to talk about it. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know. Have you ever gotten advice from someone who is single that was just absolute garbage, or vice versa? What are your thoughts? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you in the next video. Cheers.